My sister is a single mom to a young daughter. In April of this year, I found out my sister and husband had been sleeping together for at least 3 months. I ended my marriage to him and am in the process of getting a divorce. I also stopped helping out my sister, which I had done since she had her daughter. I told her I never wanted to see her again and to not ask me for help. Our parents are both disabled and live together in a nursing home. They were upset when they heard what happened, but told me they would not cut out one daughter for the other. I told them I understood and would never ask them to, but they needed to understand I would not be there for my sister anymore, and I don't care how bad her life gets, or whether she needed some life-saving blood or kidney from me one day. They told me they understood. But now that Christmas is approaching, a big deal is being made out of the fact that I'm not welcoming her or her daughter for Christmas like I normally do. I've already moved to my new house. I always bought my niece gifts and gave them someplace to go for Christmas, and now I'm not opening my new home to them. My parents told me how it would be nice for my niece, not my sister. I told them being there for my niece meant having contact with my sister and that I didn't want to see her again. My sister begged and pleaded with me to let them come. She has apologized multiple times for what she did, but I don't care. I've never cared. She was getting so much help and money from me, and then she went behind my back. She disrespected me. She made a fool out of me. She allowed my ex to disrespect me. This is not me saying that she's only to blame, but my ex will soon be completely cut from my life, and I want the same to be true for my sister. My sister sent me messages saying her daughter misses me, etc., how she'll be heartbroken if it's just them for Christmas, with almost no gifts. I told her that was her problem to fix, not mine. My sister and parents are all saying that I'm being cold-hearted to the wrong person. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Let me get this straight. Your sister had an affair with your husband, which you only just found out about several months ago, and she expects to be allowed in your home? And your family's trying to manipulate you and guilt you into letting her be there? No one's Christmas spirit is jolly enough to cancel out sleeping with your spouse behind your back. Come on. You don't just have a sister and a husband problem. You have a family problem. For anyone who isn't going to respect and understand your decision, I'd suggest going low or no contact. The last thing you need to deal with right now is their toxic but family nonsense. If your parents are going to side with your sister, I'd suggest going with no contact, at least for a while. This is absolutely unacceptable on so many levels, and I'm so very sorry for what you're going through right now. Yes, in such a case, the option of not choosing a side is to choose a side. The parents choose the sister's side, asking OP to forgive and do everything, holidays, family gatherings, etc., like before. By doing this, they're saying that what the sister did is not that bad, and it's OP's responsibility to get over it. I would have difficulty forgiving this betrayal, even if I understood how hard it must be for the parents to deal with it. Your sister needs to understand that she ruined this for her daughter, not you. She chose to betray you, knowing full well that she depends on you for favors and money. She made her bed. She lies in it. She's using her daughter to try and restart the relationship, being manipulative. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. She betrayed you to the degree that apologizing won't fix. And yeah, tell your parents to stop with the neutral facade. They already chose her over you. It's apparent. Is anyone else here worried that OP is footing the bill for several different aspects of her family members' lives? Mom and Dad are in a nursing home, which is not cheap. Sister relies on her a lot, to the point where she accuses her of not giving her own child Christmas. The financial and emotional labor of both situations is a lot already. OP has been through enough already without worrying about being a meal ticket for people who think it's okay for her to endure a brutal situation for their comfort. I vote going no contact with family, then getting a new phone number. I work for a tech company. My husband is an aspiring author. He's had some success, and we hope for more in the future. When I got pregnant, I negotiated a full year of maternity leave with my employer. In return for the accommodation I made with my employer, I got a month of completely uninterrupted time with my new baby. Then I started taking on tasks from home on my own schedule. On average, it was 15 hours or so a week. My husband writes at home, so we decided that he would be the stay-at-home parent, and when I was working, he would care for our baby. It was a pretty good arrangement, I thought. And it was for about a month. Then he would start ignoring the baby crying or claiming that the baby wanted me, that sort of thing. It began to interfere with my deal with my boss. I told him in no uncertain terms that if he kept interrupting me while I was working, I would hire a nanny for help, but take the funds out of our fund budget that pays for dinners out, vacations, and hobbies. He got the point, and I got my 1 to 2 hours of uninterrupted time every day, until recently. It's almost time for me to return to work full time. Once again, my employer was very accommodating. They were impressed with my ability to contribute meaningfully to my group during my maternity leave, so they offered me a choice to work from home, work in the office, or a hybrid schedule. I discussed it with my husband, and he said I should work from home to help more with the baby, so I chose to return to the office. I have access to a private room and a freezer to store milk. I can interact with my team, and I enjoy the environment. My husband is saying that I'm being cruel and that my baby needs me. I said I would work from home if he got a job to pay for the nanny, so it didn't affect our budget. He said it didn't make sense. I almost said, "You don't say." He wants me to be the main breadwinner while he tries to get published. He wants to enjoy life in an expensive city, and he wants to stay home to write. Some of these desires are mutually exclusive without him stepping up and giving me time and space to earn a living. We just saw his family for dinner, and he complained to his mom about me leaving him home with the baby and returning to work. She started in on me for my choice. I was embarrassed until his dad spoke up and reminded her that when my husband was born, she was a stay-at-home mom and housewife. He said that that was what my husband signed up for if he didn't want a job. It just became a big argument. Now we're home and I feel bad, and he says he feels emasculated. So we're arguing. I feel like an idiot abandoning him and our baby, and his mom thinks I am. Not the idiot. He feels emasculated? Apart from the fact that that's just an attempt at manipulation, if his masculinity is that fragile, he can fix it by getting a job. So, to clarify, he wants to stay home, not work, and not take care of the baby. Essentially, he wants to contribute nothing to the household in terms of either money or effort. That's absurd. He's beyond entitled and selfish. You have to work because nobody else is. If I were you, I'd be telling him I'll compromise by giving him two options. He stays home and takes care of the baby, or you hire a nanny, and he can get out because he's dead weight at this point. Your father-in-law is right. He signs up for this if he didn't want a job. So he has to pick one, work or childcare. He doesn't get to just say neither. Being able to stay home and work on his writing is a huge luxury, and he seems not appreciative of this chance he has. How are you being cruel and abandoning the baby when you're the one providing for it? This dude needs to step up. I'm sorry, OP. It sounds like you have two babies at home. I'm a 54-year-old male with a daughter who's 28. She's home on break from grad school, getting her PhD. She's only home for 2 weeks because she says she doesn't have any more time, even though she has a month's break. That's been a big thing with her lately. She's constantly too busy to do things with us or help us out, even though she does have time. I got my younger daughter a sweater, and it turns out she already has it. On Friday, I called my older daughter from work and told her she needed to run and exchange it for a different one. She said okay, she'd do it the next day. I said it needed to be done that day to get the best options, and she said she was grading, so she couldn't. I told her that she could continue her grading, run out, and exchange it. She said she wasn't going to slow down her work, and that I should do it when I returned from work that day. So I said I was busy too, and didn't feel like running out after a long day of work, and she said neither did she. But she doesn't have a long day of work. She's sitting on her butt at a computer all day and doesn't even have scheduled hours to work. She can do it whenever she wants. Today, things really kicked off because I needed her to pick up an online order for a gift for my mom, her grandma. She again used the excuse of grading. She hadn't even started working yet. It was in the morning, and she was drinking coffee and having breakfast. She said that she needed to have her grades done by today, but I looked it up on the website, and she has until Monday evening. So I called her on her BS, and she said she had other work due on Monday, so she needed to get the grading done today, but wouldn't enlighten me on what this mysterious other work is. I said, well, tough. This needs to be picked up today so I can wrap it, and I was going into the office, so I couldn't do it. She said that if I didn't want to do it myself, then it would be done on her time. I told her with that attitude, she could stay somewhere else. And she said happily and packed her things, claiming she didn't want to stay here anyway, but was only doing so because I insisted. She left her gifts and said not to expect her for the holidays, and she'll go to her girlfriend's family instead. I think it's ridiculous that she's throwing a fit just because she can't constantly live like she's the only person on the planet. But my wife and other daughter are now furious with me. So I figured I'd ask, am I the idiot? Or am I correct that my daughter is self-centered and childish? Excuse me? Am I correct that my daughter is self-centered and childish? Nope, that's a mirror you're looking at. You are the idiot, OP. Seriously, this grown man is throwing a temper tantrum because his adult daughter isn't willing to take orders and run his errands. I have a feeling he made her take responsibility for his errands a lot growing up, and she's come back home to see her family armed with boundaries because she knows what he's like. He doesn't like not being able to order her around anymore. I hope she has an awesome Christmas with her girlfriend. She's 28, and he wonders why she won't take responsibility for his gift giving at the expense of her own work. He did say she's sitting on her butt on a computer all day, so it's clear he has zero respect for her work. OP doesn't view what she does as real work. OP, you're only 54 and are expecting your daughter to run errands for you like she's a paid shopping assistant. You played the I'm your parent and you must obey me card, and you lost. I'm pushing 80, and I never ask my young relatives to do something for me that I can do for myself or hire someone to do. My mother had your philosophy. Children are supposed to do for their parents, and she died alone in a nursing home because nobody could stand to be around her. Read and learn. I am a happily child-free adult. Babies have always made me super uncomfortable. I don't like looking at them, being in their presence, or really hearing about them. I used to have panic attacks if I had to be near a baby or a toddler, even for a minute or two. If a baby or toddler touched me, I'd freak out and have to go wash off a few layers of skin. I don't know what caused such an intense reaction, but it's always been like this. I've been working on at least being more cordial and tolerant with babies and toddlers, to the point that I no longer have panic attacks. However, they still make me very uncomfortable, and I don't want anything to do with them. I have a friend, we'll call her Sally, who knows that I dislike babies and how uncomfortable they make me. Sally had a baby several months back. I was polite and congratulated her. Ever since, every so often, she'll randomly message me about her baby. She starts with, I know you don't like babies, but, and then sends a picture of her baby, tells me about toys or clothes she bought for her baby, etc. I usually reply in brief messages like, nice, or okay, and leave it at that. I don't want to be mean, so I give a minimal response. I delete the photos immediately, usually our conversations too, because I'm just not interested. Sally and I are not, nor have we ever been, close friends. Recently, Sally posted in a group chat we're both in, asking for people's addresses if they wanted to receive a Christmas card from her baby. That's how she worded it. I figured if I didn't fill out the document, that would be an easy, non-confrontational way to ensure that I would not receive baby pictures in the mail. Unfortunately, Sally messaged me privately today, asking for my address so she could send a Christmas card. So my silent opt-out is no longer an option. Will I be the idiot if I tell her that I don't want a Christmas card from her baby and to please stop sending me photos and updates about said baby? A baby touching you makes you run to the bathroom, and being in the room with one gives you anxiety? Yeah, that isn't normal. You need to get therapy. That's not a healthy way to live. Suffering over the sight of babies is extreme. You are the idiot. You don't even need to open the card. Use tongs to take it out of the mailbox and drop it immediately into the garbage. Sally's being a little too obtuse about sharing her baby excitement. But this, literally and figuratively, is life. Sally could be lonely and struggling with the change of having a baby. Everyone has issues. It won't harm you at all to be polite about mail. The question isn't if OP is an idiot for not liking babies. And even if it was, they're not the idiot for that. People have irrational fears about stuff. It doesn't mean that they're idiots. The question was whether they'd be an idiot for declining a card. And the answer is still not the idiot, because they're entitled to establish boundaries. And Sally knows about OP's issues with babies, so their boundary trumping actually puts them squarely in idiot territory. If OP was afraid of snakes or spiders and someone insisted on exposing her to them constantly, would you be so dismissive? Oh, I know you have a phobia of spiders. Let me send you the pictures of my new pet tarantula. He's so cute. OP is polite and tries to be non-confrontational about her fears. She's making progress and getting help. OP has the right to exist without being constantly exposed to her fears and bombarded with unwanted pictures. Her friend is not entitled to her attention, address, or anything else regarding her baby. During a party my parents hosted, my toddler kept asking where his dad was. He was getting increasingly irritable, so I took him to find my ex. Once we found him, I left our son with him even though my ex told me he was in the middle of an important conversation and couldn't watch him. I told him I didn't care, so he promised he would come and get him in 10 minutes once he was done. But I still left our son with him and my brother, who was there too. They found me about 30 minutes later, and both my brother and ex made a big deal about how I left our son with them when I knew they were busy. My son had clearly been crying, and they both got defensive when I asked what they had done to him. It turns out my son started crying because my ex wasn't paying attention to him, which meant they had to end their conversation so that he could comfort him. So my ex is claiming it's my fault for leaving our son there when I knew he was busy, and he accused me of being intentionally difficult. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot. You suck because you left your child with someone who didn't want to take care of them, even temporarily. Your ex sucks because I can't imagine how important a conversation can be at a family party that someone can't spend time with their child. The only person that doesn't suck is your kid, who's desperate for attention from adults who either ignore him or pawn him off on others. I wish him the best. Without knowing the context of the conversation and the OP's brother also being upset that they had to stop the conversation, it tells us a lot that it really was an important conversation. They wanted 30 minutes to themselves at a family party. OP couldn't find anyone else to entertain her son or look after him herself for a few minutes, so the men are instantly labeled as deadbeats. OP, you can say to your son, Dad is busy right now. We will get him in a few minutes. Even at 2, patience needs to be taught. Funny, it tells me they're both deadbeats who think their time is more important than the mother's. Because if it was actually important, then they are exceptionally irresponsible people. You should never discuss actually important matters in the middle of a social gathering and the hearing range of everyone. Feeling self-important isn't the same as talking about important things.